Welcome everyone here on this historic evening for the Newton City Commission, where we are going to say goodbye to one member and welcome another member. First order of business is we are all going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first item, we're going to consider the minutes of the November 28, 2023 meeting. I trust everyone has read it and approved.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. And at this time, we are going to adjourn sine die. That doesn't mean we're adjourned. We just barely got started, so everybody sit tight. But we would like to, maybe if anybody has any comments about outgoing commissioner.
Well, actually, I put together a video. Can we play it real quick?
Well, let's do that.
Okay. All right.
All right.
And let me just say this. I'm no videographer, so bear with it. Time to go. I had always dreamed of being in an elected office. I wasn't sure where I would go or where I would end up. But not long after moving to Newton, I realized anyone can get elected in this town. So I set off to run, and lo and behold, I won a seat in 2019. I realized with all of those yard signs after the election, they do actually serve a purpose in some capacity, like when my fish had babies and I needed to separate them. It quickly came time for our first meeting. Rich, Rod, and myself were all sworn in by Denise. It came time to get to work. It didn't take Adam Strunk too terribly long to find the best picture he could of me, and then put me in the paper. Fun things happened quickly, like the official Newton flag revealing, and being blocked on Tim Hodges' Facebook page, to which the Kansas Republican Party made a mailer about it. The best year of my life, almost, came during the 150th anniversary year, to which I also got to serve as mayor that year. We started the year with a declaration for a year's worth of parties, to which I gave myself the title, the Party Mayor. The Ferris wheel downtown, the numerous golf tournaments, and a final train whistle blow made that year the best year ever. But as mayor, I got to do so many other fun things, like purchase fireworks and do a firework giveaway that year. Read to kids at the library about the city. Numerous, and I mean numerous, ribbon cuttings. Dancing with cheerleaders on more than one occasion. Meeting the former Wichita mayor and telling him that Newton had the best mayor ever, to which he had no idea I was the mayor until someone told him. Writing thank you cards for being the best part of Newton to all the kids who came by my house that year for Halloween. Yes, I gave them candy too. And representing the city at the Newton High School pie cook-off and beating the North Newton mayor. It helped he didn't show. I awarded the mayor's pick for the best car at the downtown Newton car show that year. Showed off City Hall to school kids. Spoke on leadership to Newton High School students. Great crowd that day, by the way. And at the end of my mayor year, I learned the mayor had an office to which I never had a key. I questioned, was I really the mayor? Did I mention golf tournaments? There were always golf tournaments, and I even won one. I got to drive, and by drive I mean honk and sit in the captain's seat of a BNSF locomotive. I got to give a speech at the donation presented by BNSF that year. I got dunked in the dunk tank, and even found a street while in Florida by the name of Newton Lane. I heard they thought the mayor was a cool guy and named a street after the city. At least that's what the locals may have told me. But it was all the times of simply representing the city in various capacities, and all that I did that meant the most. At the high school, chamber breakfast, pep talking the Newton High School girls softball team at the state tournament, smashing Principal Caleb with a face in the face with a pie. Sorry, Caleb. And a helicopter ride around Newton one day. But nothing can compare to the friends I made over the last 4 years. Andy Harder and Andy Ortiz, you guys have heard me complain, get mad about decisions we made at the city, and in the same breath celebrate all of the good that was here. These were guys I could count on. Taking my kids to games when I was busy with city or school stuff, going to shut off the water at my house during a water leak when we were out of town, escape rooms with our families, and so much more. I was given the title Mr. Mayor at the high school. I loved that title. I felt like I had become a celebrity at Norm's every time I went in. I remember the time Rod and I were moving a couch out of his basement. It was on his porch and we both sat down. I said, "Isn't this something?" Someone is going to snap a picture of us and say, "Look at how Newton is going downhill," to which Dana Cry had already snapped a picture of us. I loved that picture. But to you other commissioners, I appreciate your friendship. We've argued, we've disagreed, and we've left frustrated with each other some nights. Weren't budgets fun? Regardless, I consider you all friends, and I'm thankful for the last 4 years. And to my family, my boys, your dad was always in the stands cheering. The students thought it was pretty cool the mayor was there too, or a city commissioner. And I remember the time Kitten was brave enough to come and present to the city. So again, thank you for the past 4 years of absolute fun. I've been asked a lot, what's next? Well, Kanye ran for president, so that's still an option. Newton, I love you. How about one more train horn before I sign off?
Well done. Well, you might have a future in videography.
I doubt it. It's not on the plans.
Well, would anybody like to have any comments after that? I don't know what you say after that. That was a good video. Thanks. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate 4 years. You know, local politics is interesting. I've thought a lot that there's a lot of decisions that are made here, and then we go home and we live next door to the very people that our decisions make. And it's tough some nights to go home. I know that there's been nights I've left and I've thought, man, I sure hope Newton PD decides to do an extra patrol down Victoria Court sometime tonight, you know? And there's other times we leave and people in the community think you're the best thing since sliced bread for a decision that you made. And so roller coaster of emotions. And I'm thankful for all 4 of you guys and gals. Kathy, thank you on the end. And you guys have taught me a lot. I've learned a lot just about myself and kind of what I want in life. And I realized probably about a year ago when my mayorship came to an end or was coming to an end, and I began to reflect. I have 1 year left. I realized that, you know, serving in politics wasn't really how God wired me. And so I like to do a lot of things. And, man, I've done so much in my short life, and it's getting longer the older I get, it feels like. But for the time being, I still feel like I've lived a pretty short life and I've done a lot. And I've thought for 15 years or so probably I wanted to serve in politics in some capacity, and I realized that it's a very difficult place to serve and still be true to what I think God wired me to do. And so that was one of the biggest things. I've had a lot of people ask me why, and it's like there's nothing crazy, there's nothing nefarious going on. I didn't know Melanie before any of this started, and so it wasn't like I, you know, wanted her to run or something, but just nothing against the other commissioners. It's a difficult place to serve and still be faithful to, you know, who's God called me to be and just my role in life. And so I'm looking forward to that. We're planning on sticking around Newton for a while. We're not moving. I heard there's some bets going around town about how soon we'll move out of town, and I don't know who's bet what. I've tried to get in on that, but they won't let me. So we're sticking around for a while. So if you bet it on the short end, you're probably going to lose. But maybe if house prices and interest rates weren't so high, maybe we would move. But for now, we're here. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, I, for one, want to thank you for your service. And
talk into the microphone, Leroy.
You have brought in some fresh ideas, and you have brought in some funny things and some not so funny things. And so I thank you for that.
Yep, thanks.
I'd say, Clint, you have a passion just for life and for things that are important to you, and I know that passion is not going to end here.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate working with you. I appreciate what you bring, your point of view, and your candor. So, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
And I feel like our friendship will last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've really enjoyed serving with you.
Thanks. Yeah, and I would just like to say to all the staff, I think you guys are phenomenal. And, you know, Kelly left us a few months ago, and it felt like a bad breakup almost. I was kind of mad. But looking forward to the future. But if Kelly was here, I would say the same thing to her that I'm saying to all of you. I think Newton is in good hands with leadership, and I've really enjoyed getting to know all of you as well. And Donna, I'm sorry for all the times that I got frustrated at meetings over finance stuff, but I appreciate your willingness to serve even in this role in this city. So I want to end this on a good note. So I appreciate everyone and all the support to the citizens of Newton. It was, you know, I was just amazed every time I went somewhere that someone knew who I was, and they would talk about what we did well and sometimes what we weren't doing so well, and they were never shy about it. I thought I liked being known by a lot of people, but I think one day I'll look forward to going to Walmart and not having to talk about city stuff. So that's it. All right.
All right, thank you, Clint. Okay, at this time, Denise is going to come up, and we are going to administer the oath of office for the new commissioner.
Do we come down?
If I can have the commission, let's do it down here.
Okay.
So before, you guys want to swear or affirm? Or you want to swear or affirm?
You want the word
You want to
swear?
swear or affirm?
Affirm.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. So I'm going to have you kind of turn this way so that I can. Okay. So if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Richard Stinnett,
I, Kathy Valentine,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Kansas,
of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of City Commissioner
the duties of City Commissioner
of the City of Newton,
of the City of Newton,
Harvey County, Kansas.
Harvey County, Kansas.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
oh, you want us right now?
Okay, at this time, we are going to consider the selection of the mayor for the upcoming year. Do we have a motion?
I would
will-
move,
Okay, go ahead.
I would move that Rod Cry be installed as mayor for the upcoming year.
And I will second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Cry, you are the new mayor.
That'll work.
No, you have to come down here. And I think she's gonna come here. And then I'm gonna take your spot.
Okay.
Right away?
Oh,
right.
I got too much stuff to move.
You'll take this one.
You gonna leave me here, or are you moving me?
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I'm fine with it. I've got too much to
Guess we got to switch nameplates around too.
That's right.
Okay.
Set.
We missed the music. Come on.
It does kind of make you feel good, huh, Clint? Sit here and,
Maybe Denise needs to get out her little sunset, huh?
okay. Well, I might say it's refreshing that so many people showed up to show support for their loved ones that got elected, and you know, when I got sworn in last time, I don't think anybody showed up. So, you know, I'm so used to being a servant, a community servant, that never occurred to me, you know, that I could have a fan club. So anyway, and it's refreshing to see all the family here celebrating Melanie's first night on the bench. So, you know, how cool is that? So the next order of business then is to select a vice mayor for this upcoming year.
Okay.
I move that we elect Rich Stennett as vice mayor.
I will second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the next item of business is we have a consent agenda. If there's nothing on there we want to pull off and put on a regular agenda, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Thank you all for coming.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
I will second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Now we're to the regular agenda. We're going to receive a year-end report on our strategic plan. Rebecca?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Commission. We're going to get this loaded up here. This is just an annual end-of-year update on the strategic plan that the City Commission has. So in the City Commission's vision statement, there are 3 items that are noted. Creating a thriving community, always expanding the tax base, and really having a strong city organization that provides that trustworthy service that we all know and love. One of the items that was of a major importance for us as an organization this year was our organizational health. There were a lot of internal items that needed to be tackled, and they were all done very well, including staff retention and hiring, lots of new ways, including QR codes and innovative ways to recruit and retain. You all went through the city manager search, and that is completed with your new city manager beginning in January. The HR policy manual has been updated and will go into effect in the new year. And then you all went through your governing body manual and your meeting procedures and had that updated. So a lot of really good internal organizational health items that were addressed this year. As you may remember, your City Commission strategic plan includes certain items that you put together in the February of 2021. Those priority initiatives were identified in other surveys and plans, such as the comp plan and the housing study. And you have 4 overarching strategic goals in there. Those goals include increasing the tax base and growing the community, increasing the housing stock of all types and price points, increasing amenities to improve the quality of life and the place of being, and of course, maintaining and improving the infrastructure. In the community survey that was undertaken in 2020, a lot of things rose to the surface, and those include what you see on your screen here, attracting more small businesses, adding your dining and shopping and entertainment. There's a lot of talk about rehabilitation, especially of existing home stock and those infrastructure improvements that is needed as well. We've identified those need to develop downtown, add the park enhancements, and invest in those other community of life initiatives such as the bike and walk trails, the pool improvements, the new library, athletic fields, and paying off debt. This year, what we see in the business and economic development corner with growing our tax base in the industrial sector, we see Amtrak Heartland Flyer extension in progress. That's in the planning phase with KDOT accepting the FRA announcement of over $500,000 in planning funds. We have GAF materials with that contract being finalized in early spring of this past year as we bring a new industry into the community. The Hillsborough industry, which is expanding its footprint to Newton, is going to be a great addition to our community. Full Vision has their own existing industry that it's expanded, and then Watco Kano Railroad coming to the community as well. So a lot of that continued growth and expansion that is in your priorities. Along with that, we of course have our more commercial type businesses, and I won't read all of these, but as you can see, we've had a lot of wonderful local businesses and restaurants and all of those items that were identified on the 2020 community survey, including those regional brands that have come to Newton and chose it as their community. A housing stock is one of those other major 4 points in your strategic plan, and you can see year to date, we are just a few doors behind where we were in 2022, but we're not at the end of the year yet. Still making lots of great progress. Specifically, we have new single-family housing. We have the Sand Creek Station 4th edition that's been filled in. Autumn Glen 3rd edition continues to make progress. Summer Crossing, Wheat Ridge, and Fox Ridge Phase 1 is, as you well know, in its beginning processes. In multifamily housing, Harvest Point, which is our senior living through Mennonite Housing, has completed its phase 1 with the additional phases planned. The Enclave, which was a duplex of 7 duplex homes, is completed and being rented out. And then Fox Ridge in phase 1 will also have those duplexes and apartments platted. So you're focusing on both sides of that housing stock. In the amenities and quality of life, we've had a lot to celebrate. The construction of the new public library is moving at a very fast pace. There's been the opening of the new wetlands park, the ball field improvements, and the dedication specifically of Railer Field, the Centennial Park. Show those, as we've heard many, many times, great new amenities. We've updated our website and put out our Choose Newton branding so that we can remind people of a one-stop shop. We've worked with the Main Street and the Chamber to put up downtown school pride banners that were a great initiative to show both the prides of the high school and the local college in North Newton. Main Street has started a beautification campaign for downtown to help raise funds for some items, and we were selected to be the host of the 2024 U.S. Adaptive Open. In infrastructure, which is your last point that you would like us to continue to work on, we have many items, including the new First Street water tanks, this 36th Street interchange that's being in the plans with KDOT, the $400,000 Safe Streets for All grant that was won and is being worked through, the lead and copper rule inventory. That's something that's we're very proud of being able to have all of those pieces on track and completely inventoried by that October 2024 date. Continue to work on the new park maintenance facility being up and ready to go. The police training building's been obtained and is in the process of being transitioned over for its full usage. And then obviously all the many, many things that Suzanne's department does for infrastructure improvements to keep our streets and waterways going. Our last slide for you tonight just put some of the staff priorities as we go into 2024, including that K-15 mill and overlay project in phase 2 to expand out some more, the South Spencer Road improvements, the planning process for that Safe Streets for All grant, The second water storage tank to be finished, the turf replacement at Fisher Field. We continue to work on our hotel recruitment, as we know that's vital to expanding our tax base and improving those quality of life amenities. We'll work on continuing our efforts for older housing rehabilitation to continue to diversify our housing stock. Of course, we have continued new housing construction, all those plats that are coming through and our infrastructure. The library will have its grand opening. We're going to increase our community marketing and increase that brand awareness. There's a resurvey of the historic downtown plan that was funded through a grant. And then internally, we'll do a comprehensive classification, salary, and benefit study so we can make sure that we're still holding with that solid core. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you.
That's a lot.
Is
Big,
that
very busy
available?
stuff.
Is that available on the website?
Yes, we will have that posted, and it'll be continued to be available.
Okay, thanks.
Great report, Rebecca. Anybody have any comments or questions? If not, we'll move on to Hillsborough Industries, their IRB. Chris.
Yeah, and I'll just tee it up. We do have bond counsel here, Sarah Steele from Gilmore and Bell, and she'll address the IRB process. We also have a couple representatives from Hillsborough Industries to speak. As you recall, at your prior meeting, the City Commission approved a development agreement with Hillsborough Industries. That has subsequently been approved by both the county and by Hillsborough Industries. It's now effective. A major component of that development agreement is the city considering the issuance of IRBs, industrial revenue bonds. Tonight, there will be two action items. One will be to conduct a public hearing, and the second will be to approve a resolution. I'm going to hand it over to Sarah. She can talk about the IRB process, answer any questions that you have. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Mr. Toll. I am here this evening from Gilmore and Bell, Sarah Steele. I know all but one of you. Congratulations. And I am with Gilmore and Bell. We serve as bond counsel to the city and have enjoyed that relationship for many, many years. We are here this evening to consider, to hold a public hearing, which is a necessary requirement anytime the commission is considering granting a property tax exemption on a new expansion, new project. And so we will convene a public hearing for this, and then after any public comment is made, well, of course, the company, I think, is well represented, so they may want to make some comments about the new project. We will come back and consider a resolution of intent. As many of you know, this is the first step in the issuance of the bonds. We will come back at a later time when they're a little bit further along in their construction, and we'll come back with an ordinance actually authorizing the issuance of these bonds. As Chris said, the project is for Hillsborough Industries. It's under the name Flint Hills Industries Inc., and that does business as Hillsborough Industries. So the project is to construct that new facility. They estimate that it will be approximately $10 million. In addition to the property tax exemption to be considered, there will be a sales tax exemption granted on all of the materials and furnishings going into the project. That is an across-the-board sales tax exemption, including the state 6.5%. And third, we will be conducting an analysis. Part or all of this may qualify for federally tax-exempt bonds, and as a small issue manufacturer, that is actually coming back because the interest rates have gone up and there really is more of a differential now than there used to be between taxable and tax-exempt interest rates. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, but I'll step aside and let the company representatives talk about the project.
Any questions or comments, Sarah? If not,
Thanks, Sarah.
would you like to?
Sure, I'll
Say
make
anything?
a comment or two. It was interesting to see the strategic plan. That's something that I definitely enjoy seeing, and it's very much part of what we're doing, is our strategic plan for the business. We desperately need to grow. We traveled up and down the 135 corridor looking for a place to land, and because of the things you're doing there is why we picked Newton. We really are excited about where our business is going. We've got a ton of products that are ready to launch, but we can't because we just don't have the resources to do it, and that's what this facility is going to afford us. So very, very excited about the future. We're putting up 56,000 square feet up front, but we're purchasing 30 acres, and we'll be closing on that Friday. So any questions for me?
No.
What's the size of your current facility in Hillsborough?
We have 100,000 square feet, 70 employees in Hillsborough. That will continue to grow. We need to double our truck bed facility production. And we're doing a lot of automation there because the truck beds are more ability to automate that. We've installed our first robot. But Hillsborough will also continue to grow. We've invested about $1 million there this year.
Well, we sure welcome you here to the community, that's for sure. It's a very good fit for us.
Yeah, you guys have done a lot of good work, and I just really appreciate how you welcomed us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other comments, then we will open the public hearing now for the issuance of the industrial revenue bonds for Flint Hills Industries. Does anybody have anything they want to say or make comment on? If not, then we'll close the public hearing. And the next item is to consider a resolution authorizing the issuance of these industrial revenue bonds.
That number would be G-1331.
I would move that we authorize the resolution G1331.
Second.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That was sure easy, wasn't it? Yeah.
With that, we'll wish you a good evening.
And thank you.
Welcome to Newton.
Thank you.
Yes.
See you, Lisa.
I would just like to say hats off to our staff and to Beth, everyone who worked with them on this. You all are really the ones that did much of the footwork, so thank you for your work on that.
Planning Commission special use permit. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners. At the December Planning Commission meeting, we had 2 items, and you're going to hear 2 of those this evening. The first being a special use permit that was requested by Emmanuel Baptist Church that is located at 1515 North Anderson. They are requesting a special use permit for signage, and this is for a non-digital message, or for a digital message board. The reason they're requesting it, the size, the location, everything that they're asking, if they were in a commercial district, it would be just applying for the permit. But because it's in a residential district, they have to do a special use permit according to the current regulations. So that's why they're here this evening. And the Planning Commission approved this request, and they are recommending that you approve it as well. There's 2 steps that you would take if you are willing to do that. They determined that the location and the size of the property are both adequate for the proposed use of the property, and that the request is allowable within the zoning classification with that special use permit. So if you are willing to approve as well, and it was approved unanimously by your planning commission, then you would need to vote to receive the recommendation, and then you would also consider granting the special use permit for the digital signage via approval of a resolution.
I move that we receive the recommendation.
I second.
Got a motion and a second to receive the recommendation. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? So now we consider granting the special use permit itself.
Yes, and that is via a resolution.
That number would be G-1332.
I move for the granting of the special use permit G1332.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Planning Commission zoning text amendments. Suzanne.
Yes. Commissioners, this item is pretty much a cleanup item of the zoning regulations. There's 4 or 5 different items that are listed in the ordinance that is attached to the cover memo for this item, and the Planning Commission approved this unanimously as well. As you know, last year we updated our zoning regulations, which had not been done for many, many years, and so we caught some things that needed to be changed, and they're listed here in the ordinance regarding some off-street parking, some temporary signage, and some monument sign changes. There is a new...
I'll step aside and let the company representatives talk about
Sarah's back.
questions or
Yeah.
comments.
Wow, I don't know what happened there.
No? Thanks. Would you like to?
It's,
Sure, I'll say anything.
it's the guy that's up next on our agenda, I think.
I enjoy seeing. Part of what we're doing is our strategic plan for the business. We desperately need to grow. We traveled up and down the 135 corridor looking for a place to land, and because of the things you're doing there, is by
Participant.
we really are excited.
There we go. All right, sorry.
Bad
about
enough
that.
hearing it the first time.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so the items are listed here in the ordinance. Like, the Planning Commission approved this unanimously. This just cleans up a few items in that existing, in the existing subdivision or zoning regulations. So if you are amiable, we would ask again that you receive the recommendation, and then you vote on an ordinance that would make these changes. If you have questions, I'm happy to try and answer.
Anybody have any questions?
I move that we receive the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Has everyone
I
had a
second.
chance to review the minutes of the last meeting, September 11th meeting?
So where's that coming from anyway?
Any motion?
I had no idea. Is that the Planning Commission?
It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, I laid out a motion.
I seconded it.
Okay.
Okay, we got a motion, some commotion, and a second. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, ordinance number.
Yes, 5137-23.
Okay, we got a motion, some commotion.
It's
Oh.
not nearly as fun.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, ordinance number. Yes, 5137-23.
This is like a bad dream. you know?
Okay, we got a motion, some commotion. Oh, not nearly as fun. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
It's very.
Okay,
good.
ordinance
Okay. Very.
5137-23.
I would move that we approve.
This is like a bad dream.
5137-23.
I
Okay.
second.
Got a motion and a second.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
I've got to think you guys are screwing with me a little bit, you know?
It's your first real test.
It is, okay. I am unshakable.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Mr. Jensen?
Can we send the police over there to shoot
Yes.
somebody?
I can hear you.
Very good. All right, I think we're ready for,
Okay, here we go. We're on 14, believe it or not. Consider request from Metro Plains Management for the city to provide partial forgiveness of a loan for the development of Lincoln Park Apartments. Chris?
And I can tee this up. As noted, this is in regard to the Lincoln Park Apartments that are here in town. We've got a formal request from Gary, who's here. He's out of state, so we figured, how could we do it? I said, let's do it on Zoom. It'll be flawless, no problem, right? So here it is. Gary wants to make a presentation to you, give you some background on the property. I'll tell you in short, this is a 2002 loan that the city provided. It was for $200,000. It was interest-free. It's for the development of the Lincoln Park Apartments. We're now at a point where Gary has a request for the city to consider a partial forgiveness. There's no obligation for the city to forgive that, but I think Gary wants to address the commission and give you a basis for why you should consider it. And Gary, I'll turn it over to you if you can hear me.
Okay, thank you. So, interesting, as listening to the earlier presentations from Gilmore and Bell brought back some memories of working with Phil Lacey on many projects we did in Kansas in the prior years. I started developing affordable housing in my hometown of Devils Lake, North Dakota 45 years ago when an old historic hotel, the Great Northern, went back to the county for non-payment of taxes. And that's how I got into development. I took that property and got a rural development 515 loan, a HUD Section 8 contract, and we turned it into 38 apartments for seniors, affordable housing, and 10,000 square feet of commercial space. From that, we kind of took off and really worked in communities under 20,000 in the Midwest, because that's where we could get rural development financing, which was 50-year 1% loans, and they came with rental assistance so the tenants could pay 30% of their income for rent. And so we did a lot of projects, and I think the ones in Kansas I've listed on the materials that you have, but starting about the time we were looking at the Lincoln School in Newton, that source of financing, Congress no longer funded the 515 program for new projects. So we had to look around for gap financing. And the tools that we explored were CDBGs, Community Development Block Grant Funds, home funds. Those were all from HUD. And funds were allocated to states for smaller communities or to the larger urban areas like Wichita. They got their own allocation. And also the Federal Home Loan Bank Board had the Affordable Housing Program. So these three programs, they were really meant to be grants, but if you took it as a grant, it lowered your basis for tax purposes. So it reduced the amount of historic tax credits and low-income housing tax credits. And as a result, the numbers just no longer work. The sources and uses were out of alignment. So these grants were restructured as loans, and usually forgivable loans, although they couldn't really put that in the documents to keep the IRS happy. So, but in most cases, these loans were forgiven after 15 or 20 years if the project, affordable housing, was kept in compliance. So that's what we're requesting this evening, is that we're willing to ask for forgiveness for basically half of the loan. The property, Lincoln Park, will still continue as affordable housing. It's actually, we have it under contract to be sold to a responsible owner and developer who has a lot of similar properties, and will probably take it through the cycle again and recapitalize it to make necessary improvements. So, as I said before, in most cases, 95% of the time, these loans are forgiving. The ones where they're not is where the project is done exceptionally well and there actually are funds to repay the loan. But that is not very often the case in communities under 20,000 people. In the urban areas, it's more likely. So that is the request. Happy to answer any questions.
How many of these projects have you done where the loan has been forgiven?
I think there's probably 20, 25.
And are they typically in communities that are higher population than Newton?
Where it's been forgiven, no, they're typically in most of the properties up until the first 20, 25 years, most of the properties were in rural communities. We did not do anything in our home, St. Paul, Minneapolis. The largest community we worked in was Wichita, where we did Eden Place. And in that case, there were several loans, CDBG, home, and city loans that were forgiven.
Is it normal, and this is for staff as well, is it normal that a property will have only paid about $6,000 over the 20-year term prior to asking for the forgiveness of the balance?
Go ahead, Gary, if you have an answer on that. But from the staff side, I would say I can't say that we have a number of loans that were set up like this. Suzanne shaking.
Well, this loan was federal funds that were given to the state, and the state allocated them to Lincoln Park or to Newton to make the Lincoln Park project work in the beginning. It was structured as a loan for, I think, 15 years, 0% interest. It was non-recourse, meaning the only available payment of the loan was from the limited partnership that owned the property, and they did not have the funds to pay it when it became due a year ago, because the intent always was that if there wasn't the funds there, then it would be forgiven. So.
To answer, you asked staff, I don't recall any other project like this, at least in the last 25 years.
Well, it seems abnormal that you would have a loan for 15 to 20 years and not make virtually any payments on it and then ask for it to be forgiven at the end. So, I mean, it's...
Typically, Donna...
Were those other loans home funds or CDBG funds, basically HUD funds or Federal Home Loan Bank Boards funds? I mean, these are unusual in that they called them a loan because they were really intended to be a grant, but that didn't work to make the project work.
Were you going to ask me a question?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So I think the City Commission doesn't have to make a decision tonight. You can take it under advisement. If you have any other questions for Gary, now would be a good time to ask them. And of course, if you have more information needed from staff, we can get that to you.
And you're in the process of selling this
Correct.
right now?
Yeah, we sold most of the properties we did in Kansas and Oklahoma. We're kind of pulling back to our, the Minnesota and the states that border that have a lot of properties in, North Dakota and South Dakota and Minnesota. But, after we developed these, we got spread out so thin in all these areas because of doing historic buildings. We kept getting calls from historical societies or mayors or school superintendents saying, I have this old school or hotel or hospital, and I saw what you did in these other states. Would you please come to our community and take a look? And that's why we ended up, doing all of these. We did projects involving 55 buildings that are on the National Register of Historic Places, but after 15 or 20 years, the investor has gotten their tax credits, they want out, and we've, basically sold those properties to other developers who often go in and recapitalize them, get, tax credits again, and make the improvements that are needed.
Is part of your agreement with the new buyers contingent on this loan being forgiven?
Yes.
I would like to ask from a little bit of a different angle. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't pretend to understand all of this. It sounds like there are a number of layers involved. What is your relationship, maybe for lack of better words, to the actual company or companies that you have had manage this apartment complex? And I ask that because, in all honesty, sir, I'm aware of a number of times where people have left that community, have moved out because of the upkeep or the lack of it. And so as I look at the terms of that original agreement, and then I city staff, I don't know if anyone on the city at the time made site visits to see if your side of the agreement was being upheld as far as the upkeep of the building and the units. I guess that's my big concern. I'm thinking about the things that I know about the building and the people that have been there and some that have left and the reasons that they have left. So that's a concern to me. And I don't know, how can you answer that?
Okay, Metro Plains Management LLC is managing it. I own a third of Metro Plains Management. It's been around for 40 years. Metro Plains Development, Metro Plains Properties were the original developers and general partner, which I'm a part owner of. I started all of those companies. Lincoln Park has always run very tight. I mean, it's never really cash flowed. It's just kept up. Our rents are controlled. We have to rent to people at 60% or 50% of median income and below, and can charge no more than 30% of the income of their income for annual rent. So, and with inflation and expenses going up, the project has been very tight to operate. I think by reselling it or by selling it and having a new buyer take it through the cycle again, that they'll be able to make the necessary improvements. With historic buildings, there's a lot of issues. We have a lot of tuck pointing issues. We have windows, and we just haven't, I think with a new buyer that they'll be able to better address those issues. Otherwise, the property is operated fairly well, although on a very, very tight budget.
So some things may not be able to get fixed just because it is on a tight budget. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, I mean, it's a limited partnership that owns it. Its only asset is Lincoln Park. Its only income is from rents. And then, of course, it has the expenses. I mean, it's not part of some big conglomeration that can take funds from other properties and put into it. That's its only asset.
Well, I'm just thinking that when you have a place that you're going to rent and people need a place to live, I've not lived there. I think they're very nice, and I have been in there, but it's not very encouraging to hear that there are problems, ongoing problems. I would not want to be somebody renting there and then have to up and move or just live with problems that I can't get fixed. And I think that's just more of my statement. I'm not really asking you for a response to that. I'm just thinking, again, from that angle as I'm considering all of this.
I'm not prepared to make a decision on this.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
I've got
than I
100
need answers.
questions.
Yeah, so we need to.
Yeah, just from a banker's standpoint, so do we have a mortgage then
Yes.
on it? And if this community development block grant, if it's paid back at the closing, then we can use that money for something else, so it's real money. And I assume you had other debt on it when you did the deal. I mean, is it fair we ask for financial statements and?
And he has provided that to staff, and I can provide that to you.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I would even like to see a copy of the proposed closing statement too. I mean,
Of course.
you know, it never was our deal, so if there's
Sure.
money there and then we're entitled to part of it, I would think that should go, you know, that would make it easier for me. I
Understood.
mean, I'm all for a new owner coming in if you're at the end of your life cycle on the project, and especially if they're going to fix it up and make it nicer for
Right.
people to live there. And I would be more apt to want to give that money to the new person if we're allowed to do that, if they're going to, you know, make it a nicer place to live. So I would like to see whatever paperwork. You know, at some point in time, you get to the point to where there'll be some type of a proposed closing statement. You know, somebody will prepare that. And in that way, we'll know, you know, what the payoff is, the current payoff is there, if there's a mortgage, and if there's any equity in there, certainly, I don't know why we would want to forgive it after 21 years. But if he needs to get part of it forgiven in order to make the deal work, that's a whole different matter. So
Understood.
So I would say we need to get a little bit more information and address it at another meeting.
Excellent. So we would take this under advisement. Any other questions for Gary while we have him on the line?
In that data collection, I'd like to see an anonymized census of Newton residents in those units. How many units there are, how many units are vacant, average rents, that type of information.
And I don't have that on hand, but I know staff, or we might ask Gary for some help on that.
Yeah, I can provide a rent roll for you and whatever other information you need. I guess, you know, back to the point, these were really intended to be grants. They only were structured as loans to make the deal work. And, you know, the city of Newton, you know, was very cooperative when we were asked to take a look at the Lincoln School and get involved, and we did, as we did in a lot of other communities, including many in Kansas. So, you know, it's not a traditional loan, and it's really, it was all HUD money, federal money that, you know, that was given to the city of Newton to make the loan, and they're not requiring that it be paid back. And so anyway, that's I'll be happy to provide whatever other information the city of Newton would like.
Great.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other comments or? Yeah.
We'll come back to you with more information. That'll be on a future
Okay.
agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, my banker,
For sure.
yeah, has kicked in. It's like, basically, we're partners with him, so, you know, whether we want to be or not, really. Okay. Denise, next meeting.
Yes, we have kind of looked at your calendars ahead of time and found that December 28th would be the best time at noon to have the meeting. I know we have to have at least 3 commissioners here. We know that one will be gone. And we have quite a bit of business that we need to do at that time. And with the holidays coming on the 26th, wouldn't have enough time to really, most people are probably still doing stuff with their families at that point. So we would need you to approve the second meeting for December 28th and cancel the 26th meeting. And that can be all done in a motion.
Okay, I would move that we move the meeting to December 28th and cancel the 26th.
And have it at noon.
And have it at noon on the 28th. Noon on the 28th, and cancel Tuesday night, the 26th.
Okay, got a motion
I'll second that.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, who's going to do this next? Consider an employment contract with the city attorney.
You want to tee that one up?
Sure.
Interim city manager.
Last year, you took it up with the city manager contract with myself and Kelly. You've already approved a city manager contract. This is my contract's set to expire here at the end of the year. I've got the information in the memo. It's teed up for you. I'd stand for any questions on it.
I'm very comfortable with it. I mean, we have already seen all the details. and
Yeah.
I think we very much approve of your performance.
Thank you.
Very much.
Are you getting tense?
A little bit.
I move that we approve
Okay, here we go.
the employment contract for the city attorney.
I second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the contract for the city attorney, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
There's nobody on the city forum.
How much time do you need, Chris?
Maybe 15 to 20 minutes. There should be no action after the executive session. If you want to go around the horn, feel free.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll start. Rich?
I am honored for the opportunity to serve my community and serve this board as well as the staff of the city. And thank you for that opportunity.
Well, I will echo those words as well. I'm very thankful for yet another opportunity to serve our community. Humbled by the encouragement that has come through the community, the members of the community. So I will endeavor to continue doing the job that I have and appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Donna?
I want to say welcome to Melanie, and glad you guys made it back.
Thank you.
I have nothing else for this evening.
Yes, sir.
Well, I also would like to welcome you to our team of 5 and look forward to working with you. I also want to say that I've really enjoyed the final leg of being mayor for the last year. And, you know, we have such a great community. I sometimes wonder, you know, it's never about one person, because it takes every one of us in the roles that we have. And I'm just amazed how, you know, when we work together, things get accomplished. And have we ever been working together? Not just in the last year. I mean, the last 3 or 4 years, we have started this. We've planted those seeds and gotten the balls rolling, and they are like going full force now. So it's a beautiful thing, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Even all the ribbon cuttings that Pam seems to bring up. I'm telling you, you find a way to get them, don't you? Yeah. So I thank everyone.
This has just been a real humbling experience for me, and I am like just super excited to get started and learn and start serving this community on this level. And yeah, and I'm excited about working with these guys. I think we all work well together.
Good.
Okay. I want to take a moment to remember Marge Roberson, who died at the end of November. She was a Newton City Commissioner for one term, was mayor for 1 year. She was a Harvey County Commissioner for 2 terms. She spent a lot of time working with the Newton Area Chamber of Commerce. She was on the Harvey County Economic Development Board. on the board of Health Ministries. And she was also a local business lady, was co-owner of Roberson Liquor Store, and actually was on the Kansas Retail Liquor Dealers Association board for 8 years and served as her president. So she was a great lady, and I just want us to remember her. Also wanted to welcome Melanie here to the commission. We're really looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And wanted to say thanks to Clint, which we already did, who retired, and welcome back.
Thank you.
You two hombres. It's always fun to work with you guys, and then especially want to thank Leroy for all those ribbon cuttings, and Pam tells me they set a record for how much ribbon they had to buy last year to cut all those ribbons, and you got in on a few groundbreakings too, so that was pretty cool, and you know, the bright light you shined on the community during your time was well appreciated. So anyway, with that, if somebody will make a motion, like Chris said, we don't anticipate making any decisions in our executive session, so if you guys want to stick around to see us call the meeting or end the meeting, you can, but certainly you don't have to. So
8:20?
We can try to do 8:20? 8:20.
8:20.
All right.
Is that good? Okay.
I'll make that motion till 8:20.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah. You'll get in there sometime. Jump in there.
So we go.
We're done.
We're done.
Okay. You get to sign stuff. This meeting is adjourned.